a few input types, how to work with them, and what are the attributes for input types. Generally, in the input types, we have the options discussed related to text box and all. And we learned about type, how we can deal with text, deal with password, and how to deal with number, range, and date. So how we work with the date. Date have options like date, date, time, local, and we have month and week. And we discussed about the attributes for them, how we can use the attributes for date, time, and month and options. Next important, after understanding these date, we also have options like email. We also have option like URL and color. These are some new options available actually. So email, URL, colors, this is nothing but input type. Email by default have the ability, actually, suppose I said your email, we have input type email. So name is txt email. And what is the specialty about this input type email is, by default, it is having some email validation. That means we can use additional like required. Without entering the name, I click submit. So it says fill out the field. And I entered something, then you can see that I entered something and I click on submit. It says please include @ that means invalid email. So it will verify the format of email. So I said some @gmail.com. Now it is okay. When I submit, it can submit that. So input type email by default have email validation. Similarly, input type URL by default it have URL validation. URL validation means, for example, so your website. So website, and here you can give URL, some txt URL I am giving, and you can see that. So this is website, and in this we need to type the website address. Required, fill out. Okay, I am typing here some Amazon. Then you see that when I submit, it says please enter a URL, amazon.com or .in. This is not URL. Actually, URL should contain a proper http://www. That is the proper URL. Then it can submit it. So you can verify that. Actually, in older versions, we need to write validations for that. We need to manually write the validation for that. But now we don't need to do that. So generally what we can do is we can simply define URL or email. So these are the new options. We have a color also. Color is, so it opens a color picker automatically. So your color, something like this, and txt color. And you can see that color will automatically get you a color picker. So this is a color picker. Suppose I am giving the color, here I am giving the color, so value. So value is red, some red color value I am defining, and you can see it's not showing any value. So, but it allows us to pick the color. That means I am picking up the color here. You can see that. And I pick the color and submit the color. It puts that reference. Actually, the color values are hexadecimal values. Suppose if I define color value and a hash. So this is some hexadecimal value. That means FF00 and or say suppose 00FF00. So this is actually green color. So it will get the green color. So that means the color is defined with hexadecimal value. You have to define the color value in hexadecimal. So I defined 00 and I defined some FF, that is the blue value, and it will get the blue value. And it submits that hexadecimal value. It allows you to pick the color and submit the color. So that is a general color picker. So color picker, for that we can use color. In the input type, you have another basic type, that is we have input type as file. So this allows you to browse and select the files. So suppose you see now, I am creating here your photo, and here input type I can define as file. Type is equal to file. So you can see that this will open a file upload control. You can click here and you can select any file. Actually, by default, it allows to upload any type of file. You can see here, we have an option here. You can see it allows all files. So it is allowing all files. Now what we can do is we can restrict that. By default, we can allow only JPG, only PNG, only documents. For that, what you can do is, so here we can use an attribute, accept. That means it is asking, suppose your resume. So resume, and here only Word documents. That's what we are asking to upload. But as of now, it allows here. You can see that when I go into any drive location, it will show other types of files also. PDF documents, Word documents, other types of files also will come. And we can upload them also. That means you see JPG, PNG will come. So what we can do is we can restrict that by using accept. Here we can tell the extension .docx. That is the extension. Or you can configure the MIME types. This is the extension, what extension you want to allow. And when I click here, so on my desktop, when I look here, you can see there is an option custom files. So, and only DOC documents will be displayed in the list. Only Word documents will be displayed in the list. not other files. You see here, you will see there it will show custom files. So we can allow only what we need actually. However, remember, it is just filtering, not restricting. It's not restricting, it is filtering. So that means here we need to configure. Here we need to configure all files. Then again, all files will come. All files will come. So it is just filtering. So if you want, you can select all files. You cannot restrict. Restriction you have to write through logic. Restriction in size of the file, restriction in the type of the file, that you have to do with the logic. That means what you have to do is you have to write a logic in JavaScript to collect the file type. And if the file type is wrong, don't allow uploading. Remember, currently it is not uploaded, it is just selected. That means currently it is just selected. That means you are just selecting a file. Don't think that it is uploaded. We have to put a button. On button click, we have to submit it. On submit, we have to collect it. We have to collect its name, reference, and verify and finish uploading into server. That's not the work happened here. It is just selecting them. Uploading everything we have to manage with our JavaScript and jQuery like technologies. Uploading, restricting the file type, restricting the file size, all this you have to do with server side, client side programming actually. Now here, accept indicates what type of files you want to allow. Actually, you can write MIME type. Suppose I said here, so image/JPEG. This is the MIME type actually. That is the MIME type of the file. So when I select here, again, the custom type will come. That is the MIME type of the file. Only JPG files will come. You can use MIME type or you can use the extension. But you know that if you write extension, only that extension will come. MIME type advantage is under one MIME type, several extensions will be there. Under one MIME type, several extensions like JPG, JPEG, JIFF. You saw that in files extensions I showed you in images. So you can restrict. One more another point is actually it allows currently to select only one file. That means you can choose only one file. I am using control key and selecting another file. It's not allowing. Only one file is allowed. It's not allowing. I am trying with control key, it's not allowing. To allow multiple files, you have to use multiple as an attribute. So this multiple attribute allows you to select multiple files. Now browse and you can choose multiple files with the control key or shift key and open, and you can see 4 files will be there. And when I submit, so those 4 files will be submitted. For that, you don't have a name here. Name is like files. So usually when I select multiple files, suppose I am selecting these 2 files, open and submit, and you see those 2 file names are submitted. We can configure and submit the files and define the files and specify them, right? Usually that is the files, how you configure and specify the files. Now that is input type. So input type is text, password, number, range, date, email, URL, color, and files. These are earlier we have only few input types, but we have several new input types available and you can use them, right? Next, after understanding these basic input types and the attributes for them, now we need to learn about the controls like radios, checkboxes, drop down, list box, text area. These are special elements. So radios are defined by using input type only. Input type radio will be there. Checkboxes are defined by using same input type only. So checkbox option will be there. Actually, what is the purpose of radio and checkboxes? How we can manage the radios and checkboxes? How we can deal with the radio and checkboxes? You can see the radios and checkboxes, the combination actually. See, generally radio purpose is to exhibit mutex mechanism. Mutex mechanism. So mutex mechanism means actually mutual exclusion. Generally, when we ask what is the purpose of radio to an ordinary learner, he will say that radios are used for selecting any one option from a collection of options. That is a general answer you can expect from any ordinary learners. So, but technically it's not that. For example, you see, so here I will show you, here you can see in the screen, these are radio buttons. So we have options. We have options like no fill, solid fill, gradient. So when user clicks on that, so only one option is selected out of these three. Out of these three, only one option is selected. Only one option is selected. By seeing this, generally anybody will tell that radios are used to select one option out of all. That's because it's already visible in the same way there. But actually, radios allow to select one or multiple options. It will allow multiple options also. So it will allow to select one or multiple options. But the problem here is it will allow to select one or multiple options. But the main problem here is once they selected, they will not allow to deselect. They will not allow to deselect. That means once checked, they cannot be unchecked actually. That is the issue with radio buttons. So generally, radio buttons once checked cannot be unchecked. That is the problem. So it's not like it is used for selecting only one. Radio buttons are used for selecting multiple also. I will show you. Here I am creating a simple field set. So, and just say, suppose I said choose gender. Input type is equal to radio. So, and here I said male. And input type is equal to radio. So I said female. Now you can observe that in the next line, I will keep the button. Okay. You see the two radio buttons are there. Now, generally, if anybody says that radios are used for selecting any one option, you can show here, I am selecting male and I am selecting female. Both are working. That is a simple point to prove that radios are not for selecting one option. Radios can select multiple options also. But what is problem with radio is once you select, you cannot deselect them. Suppose I want to deselect, it cannot deselect. So that means once they go into process, they cannot come out of process. You have to refresh, then it will come out of the process. So that is the issue with radios. That means actually technical. That means technical way how to understand this is, so we have process and we have two tasks, task 1 and task 2. Two tasks are in the memory, that is radio 1, radio 2. Now what happens is, one task goes into process. So, and it strucks in the process, cannot come out. So it will not come out of the process, it strucks in the process forever until you reset the process. So that means you see here in the radio button, I selected male and I don't want to deselect. So to deselect, I am clicking one more time on it. It's not working. That means it's went into process. It cannot come out. Now you send another one. It also goes into process and cannot come out. You selected another one. It also goes into process and cannot come out until you reset the process. That means you reset the process, then these two will come out. So this is the problem with radio. Then how to manage them? What we have to do is, we need to make those two radio buttons, make these two radio buttons run on one thread. Two radio buttons run on same thread. Actually, every radio button have a separate thread. So what process will do is, it will treat both radios as different individual. That means every radio runs on a separate thread. Now you need to tie these two radios to single thread. Now what process can do is, if both belongs to same thread, then it is allowing one radio, and still this radio cannot come out of the process. But from the same thread, if you push another radio, then it will kick the previous outside. This is called mutual exclusion. When you push task 1 inside, it will push task 2 outside. Only if both belongs to same thread, otherwise both are independent. This is called mutual exclusion. We call this mechanism as mutual exclusion. That means now what we have to do is, we need to make these two radio buttons to run on same thread. That is possible by giving name. So gender, same name for both of them. This name is also gender. If both are defined with the same name, that means both are having the same thread, running on same thread. Now see what will happen. So here I am selecting male. Okay, it goes into process. I am clicking on male, it's not coming out. Again, same problem, it's not coming out. But you send female into process now, it will kick the male outside the process. So that means out of these two, only one is working. One is working. This is called mutual exclusion. Generally, we design radios with mutual exclusion. By seeing this, general people think that radio buttons are used for selecting only one option. But it's not true. Radio buttons are used for selecting more than one option also. You saw that. If I don't give a common name, both are independent, both can be selected. So when to use these radio buttons? So radio buttons have an ability here. Remember, radio buttons must be used when selection is mandatory. That means user must choose one option. That means he cannot leave empty, must choose one option, but any one option only out of all. In such case, you can use radios. How we can make it? See, if I refresh, it will be gone. How I can make must choose one option means you can keep any one radio checked. There is a checked property. Checked property indicates that it is selected. If both radios belongs to same thread, both cannot be checked. If you give checked for both of them, it will work only for the last one. So if you remove this, this is for the first one. Now by default, one is selected. And user wants, you can change the selection, but you cannot skip the selection. That means now you cannot skip it. Even if you refresh, mail is selected. So when to use radio buttons? When you think the selection of one option is mandatory and user cannot ignore it, and out of many, one can be chosen, but one should be by default chosen. In that case, we can use this. So why? Because radios, once selected, they cannot be deselected. That is the ability of radios actually, how we can work with the radios. So radios are used for mutex. So mutex mechanism. So mutual exclusion, we call that as mutual exclusion. The mutex mechanism. And currently that is how it is working. One more important point. In interviews, for freshers, generally another question asked is, what does a radio button submits? Actually, if radio button is not defined with any value, it is having a name, but we are not defining any value. What does a radio button will submit? Actually, radio button always submits. Radio button always submits on as a word, always submits on. That means you see, I am selecting male or female or anything and click on submit. You can see it is on. It is on. Male, selected male on, selected female on. It's on only. So if you want to submit something else, then every radio can have a different value. First radio will have value as male. Second radio will have value as female. So it can have the value. And I selected female, it is submitted. I selected male, it is submitted. You can see it's submitting that value. If value is not defined, it is going to submit on. And if you want to submit any specific, then you have to define as value. So that is the main intention of radio buttons. So technically, radios are used for exhibiting mutex mechanism. If you don't give a common name, every radio button is independent. You can select more than one radio also. So that is the intention of radio. Next, checkbox also same, but checkbox advantage is you can check and uncheck. Radios cannot be unchecked, but checkboxes can be checked. For example, I defined here select course. So here we defined select course, and roughly I defined input type is equal to checkbox. And here I said some Java. Okay, another, so we have input type is equal to checkbox, and we have like .NET something. Now there can be more than 2, 3, anything. Now user can choose one, and he can uncheck that, check and uncheck. And user can select one or multiple. Every checkbox is independent. You can check one or multiple. And same, if you want by default any checkbox selected, remember, even you give a common name. That means I give a name as course. Here also I am giving the name as course. So this doesn't matter. So this doesn't matter for checkbox. Even you give different names, both are selected. Same names, both are selected. Different names, both are selected. So, and these also same. When you submit, by default, they submit on as a keyword. But I want a specific value, so we can define the value. So value for this is Java, and value for this is .NET. That means they can submit that value. So suppose I am selecting here .NET, and it says course is .NET. I am selecting both Java and .NET. It will submit both Java and .NET. That is generally how we can use checkboxes. Checkboxes also have checked property, and you can give checked property for both of them. So both of them, that means by default both are selected. Generally, when we use when we want optional selection, it's not mandatory. In that case, we can go with these checkboxes. So actually, lot of effects also we can apply based on that, especially when in interviews while working with checkboxes and all. Like in interviews, many times some questions are asked, like, so how to design a checkbox list? Suppose you say, here you can see I am having two options. Sometimes 100 courses are present, 20, 30 courses are present. Out of that, user should select 2, 3, anything. Then like this, how you can show 20, 30 courses side by side, one below another? It occupies more space on screen, because here I'm showing only 2. If I have to show 20, 30 like this, it is very complex. Then generally what we do is, so we design in this way. For example, I'm creating a data list, data term, so select course. Okay. And below this data definition, here I am creating an unordered list. Okay. In that we have list item, we have checkboxes. Input type is equal to checkbox. So checkbox. And similarly, so this is the course like some Java. Okay. Now similarly, we will create these checkboxes in an unordered list. So like say Java, like say .NET, so like PHP, so PHP, like some Python, okay, like full stack, so full stack. So these are some options we configured. Then I said UI, so something. Now usually this is the list of checkboxes. Like this, if I want to show 20, 30, it is very complex. Then generally what we have to do is, in order to create a list of checkbox, in HTML, we don't have any checkbox list. Then we have to use our CSS. See what I am doing now. Here style. For unordered list, list style as none. That means it will remove the list style. And I will keep margin left as -40 pixel. It will move little left side. So minus 60 pixel. It will move left side like this. And after that, so for unordered list, I am giving here a border as 2 pixel or 1 pixel solid sub border. You have a border for that. And we have width, so that is some 200 pixel. That is the width applied for that. And this is unordered list. Now I will change this margin left to some 10 pixels. Okay, it will be like this. Now what we need to do is width, adjust width to some 120 pixel. That's enough. Okay, and I will adjust the height as suppose 40 pixels, and the height adjusted like this as 60 or 70 pixel. The height adjusted like this. Now you can see that rest of the contents are outside. Then we have to just put an option overflow. Overflow. Overflow, give auto. If I give overflow auto, anything outside this height will come with a scroll bar. This is a list of checkboxes. It is a list of checkboxes. That's simple. That means you don't have such element directly in HTML. We have to design that. We have to design that with styles. We need to keep in a container. We need to keep the height of the container, and we need to keep that overflow, and we can manage that. So that is options configured. Suppose the list items inside it, we have margin left as suppose minus 40 pixel. So the list items will come left side. Then it looks good. This is how we design. So this is, and user can choose more than one. User can choose more than one here. So these are the options. This is actually a checked list box. Checked list box. This example already there in the classroom. In the forms concept, it is available. You can go through that. So we have to create a list of checkboxes using unordered list or ordered list. Then remove the list style, put a border, adjust the height and width, and keep overflow. Sometimes people ask even like, I want side by side 2 columns, 3 columns. That depends on your skills of uh, HTML and CSS. Suppose for this unordered list, I given as display as grid and grid template. So grid template columns as 2. So, or you can also write here. You can also write here columns. Columns count is 2. That means it will come in 2 columns. Simply, you can define columns count 2. Then it will display in 2 columns. Now, if there are more items, then automatically, because overflow is auto, automatically scroll bar will come. So this is, you can arrange your content side by side or one below another. So with scroll bars, horizontal, vertical, depending on the number of contents you are having inside it. So by default, such elements are not available in HTML. You have to design them by yourself. This is actually very frequently asked design for UI learners. In the interviews for freshers, they ask regularly to design such things like design how we can design a list of checkboxes, how we can design side by side columns and all. So this is while working with checkbox. You can do this for radios also. radius checkbox we can design in this way. While working with checkbox, one more very commonly used option is for the checkboxes. One more option is, suppose here I will create another field set. Okay, another field set I will create here. Yeah, remove the style. One more regularly used option is, suppose we have field set with a legend, terms of service. And here in the terms of service, suppose we are giving a div, and in that div we are copying some paragraph. So that is like terms of service, some paragraph. Roughly I'm using some paragraph. Okay. And here for this div, I am giving the height. So div, I am giving the height as some 100 pixel or say 150 pixel, and width is some 200 pixel, and we defined background color as light gray. Okay, and you can see this is actually the, and here I will give overflow as hidden or overflow as auto, and you can see the scroll bar will come. So, and in that, suppose I given 300, yeah, the field set also width is 300 pixel. This is the option, terms of service. Now you can scroll and read that. Okay, and below this I am giving, so below this I am giving another div, and in that we have we have a checkbox, input type is equal to checkbox, and I given a span, I accept. Now this is the checkbox, and I accept, and I want to keep this checkbox below, because we given for the div, I will give here ID as terms. Okay, I will apply here for the ID as terms, so that every div will not be in the same way. Okay, now I can shift this below the field set also, so it will be in this way. That is, I accept. Now generally, when user is selecting this checkbox have a checked property actually. Now here, this is the checkbox. For this checkbox, we will give an ID. ID is accept. Accept is the ID. Okay. Now here I am writing the style. So accept, hash accept, that is the checkbox. And for that checkbox, beside the checkbox, there is a span. In that I have I accept. So we use here accept plus span. This is plus indicates adjacent element. Actually, we use space. Space is for child element. Later in CSS, you will learn about them. Plus is adjacent element. Adjacent means beside it. That means beside I accept whatever span is present. Because if I write span, it will work every span, but only the span which is adjacent to this accept. So what should happen? Its color is red. Its color is red. That means you can see that the color will be red for that. That is red for that. I accept, and you can see that the color is red. The color is red. Now, usually what should happen is the same I will here define accept. And if accept is checked, accept is a checkbox. If it is checked, then the span beside it should have the color green. That means checked is an attribute which you can use as a property for style. So that means you see this is a checked class. This indicates, this checks whether it is checked or not. If it is checked, then it will set it to green color. That means the checked property that you have used, you can use this in the styles also. So now what will happen is, if it is checked, the checkbox, because this is checkbox ID. If checkbox is checked, the span will turn to green color. You can see now, I select the checkbox, it will be green color. I remove the checkbox, it will be this. It will be this. Now, very important is, based on that, you can define several other interactions also. We are not just displaying it. We can handle several other interactions. I am just not changing the color. I am not just changing the color. We not only color, like you can see some websites, what happens is when you choose it, the background colors will change. When you choose it, usually the interaction with the buttons will change. That means button like register button enabled, register button disabled. So we can enable or disable the buttons and manage them. All such things we can handle, but dynamically you can do them through CSS. Some we can control them. So this is one regularly used option for handling the checked property. If checked, it will display in one color, and not checked, it will display in another color. This is generally used with the checkboxes. And for that, we have to use this checked in styles. We can verify whether it is checked or not. And based on that, you can handle. The plus span, that the adjacent span beside that particular checkbox, whatever span is there to that. If I don't write that in a span, I cannot apply color to this particular text if it is not in a span. So that is the reason you have to keep in some container. So you can keep in a div or anywhere else, but div will come below. We want just beside it. Then we can keep this as a accept. Right. So this is very common with checkboxes. So very frequently used designs checkbox list and checked effects with styles. These are very commonly used while working with the checkboxes. Now, next important is we have drop down list. Drop down list. What is the problem with the radios and checkboxes is actually checkboxes are more advanced, means design. Generally, later you will learn about that in Bootstrap. In recent websites, you can see actually checkboxes are given like this. I will show you. Like suppose, because the modern website designing, the checkboxes and their functionalities look little different in appearance. You see there is transparency effects. This is also a checkbox only. Choose X asset color. So you see here, this is a checkbox. This is a checkbox. And actually above that, you see this is also a checkbox. So this is also a checkbox. This is also a checkbox. So you can turn on and off. That is also a checkbox. But this is designed with some bootstrap. Ordinary checkbox will look like this only. Some special appearance you can give like this. And this is not available in older versions of Bootstrap. Latest version of Bootstrap 5 is there, which we are going to learn, Bootstrap 5. In that, they have this kind of appearance. You can give that. So temporarily, I am just showing you. Observe here. Suppose we can visit getbootstrap.com. This is official website. Go to download. So just observe it. Later you can try when we learn Bootstrap. Here Bootstrap CSS link is there. I will copy that Bootstrap CSS link and I will use that in our page. And you have to link that style sheet in the head section. We are linking Bootstrap CSS file. You see the Bootstrap CSS is there. This is 5 version Bootstrap. In old version of Bootstrap, you don't have that facility. In the new version only you have that. Now you see here, when you keep the checkboxes, here you can give an class called form check, and you can give an class called form switch, and you can give this as class for checkbox as form check input. Now when you give these classes, automatically the appearance of checkbox will be like this now. You see our checkbox changed. So I will give the field set class as container, and it will be like this now. Give this class to the body section. Okay, you just see here. Don't worry, later you will learn. You see your checkbox changed like this. And I clicked here, then it is accept. I clicked here, it is red color, green color. It's checkbox only, but its appearance is different. Such thing you can do while learning the Bootstrap, because many times people ask such questions like, I have seen in website like this, like that. You will see so many things in website, and don't try to attempt them and think that they can be done with only HTML immediately, right? It's not possible. Lot of CSS, so JavaScript, jQuery, Bootstrap, like combinations are used for designing such complex things. In HTML, whatever are available, we are learning. And whatever extra you see in your other websites, they are done with some additional CSS effects, right? So you have the checkboxes and all. But the problem with checkbox and listbox, checkbox and radius is, if we have 20, 30 items, and out of that user have to choose, then it becomes very difficult because it will occupy more space on the screen. So it will occupy more space on the screen. So in that case, we prefer using drop downs. What is the advantage of drop down is you can see that. So this is the font, and you can see this is a drop down. And drop down means only one line space it will occupy, but it will contain lot of items. On click, it will show the list of items which you can choose, So that is drop down. So by default, to design drop down, we have a select. Select is used to design drop down, and select contains option. So, and options can be kept in an option group, OPT group. Options, suppose if you want to categorize. Without categories, then you can directly use option. With the categories, then you can use an option group. So how we can design that? See, suppose I am creating, so a simple design here, clean up all these styles. So I will create here a simple option, a field set. Let's create a field set and with a legend. So select categories, select a product. And here we have a select. In this select, I can directly give option. Here option is like some JBL speaker. So like we have an option You have an option here. So option here and say some earpods. And here we have an option here. So, and the option is like, suppose Nike casuals. We have an option here like Lee boots something. And generally, when you are creating these options and say shirt, and we have an option here like jeans like this. Now you can see that these are all the options in a drop down, Now there will be nothing like default, because many times people ask this like, sir, by default JBL is selecting, I don't want that. So I want a caption like select a product. No, it is not possible. You have to design that also by using option. As an option, you have to say that select any product. Select any product. That means it will show that select any product. As I said, select a product. It will display that. So it should be used as an option only. You cannot put as a default. Yeah. So you cannot put as default. There is nothing like default. So everything is considered as an option only. In logic, what we do is when user selects the first one, we will say that it is not a product. If user selects anything else, it is a product. Now here, this option, so select is having a name. That means we are creating a button, so and submit, and we want to try to submit this. And it will submit only when it is having a name. And you know that it should have a name, it should be inside the form, then only it can submit. That means we have to design in a form, and we have to give in a name as product. And you can see that it is going to submit that product name here. Now every option, if you want to categorize according to the selections here, you can keep them. You see, I selected these two, and I can keep this in an OPT group. In an OPT group, you can keep these two. That means these two belongs to one group. Generally, this OPT group is given with a label. We can give a label for the option group. Label I am defining as this is electronics. Okay. Now these two belongs to another group. We have to keep another OPT group. And for this, here we are defining a label as some footwear. And here we are defining these two, another OPT group, and here configure that, and here label. So this is fashion, something like that. What is the advantage of this OPT group is it will show everything like categories. Electronics under that, these two, footwear under this, these two, fashion under that, these two. Categorizations. So user can select these options and configure them. And generally, every option have some attributes. So every option have an attribute value. That means what to submit as value. Because here you give the text for option. By default, it is submitting this text. If you want to submit something else, you can give as value. Sometimes what you see is different, what you submit is different. Suppose generally you select a city and submit, but in the background they will submit the city related pin code. That is done by using options and values and configuring them. So now options can have value. And value I defined as, suppose it is having some code JBL01. This is the code of that particular product. Then usually what happens is when user selects that and clicks on submit, so its code will be submitted. That means its name will not be submitted. For others, you see that earpods, it is submitting that earpods. But every product will have certain code. You can submit that by using value. So some earpods, some value. So this is generally used to submit a different value on selection. What you see is different, what they identify is different. That is the reason they should have a different value. Sometimes we use the same value or different. Suppose whenever we want the option to be selected, for example, whenever it opens, I want this Nike casuals to be selected. You can use selected. Selected indicates that by default it is selected. You see, it is selected. That means by default it is selected. Whenever the page opens, by default it is selected. Only one you can give as selected. The last one will be selected. And if you don't want it to be selected, then you can use disabled also. Disabled is common. You see, it is disabled. Nike casuals is not selectable now. So that means we don't want the user to select that for certain situation. Later, we want it to select. Then we can use this option. You can use this technique. This is basically done while working with the selections. So this is generally options related attributes. We have selected. So we have disabled. These are the options, value selected, disabled. So, but remember, this allows you to select only one. We can allow to select multiple. You can allow to select multiple. For that, we need list boxes. So some more controls are there now that we will see in our next session tomorrow. So by tomorrow, we will finish all the forms concept. Then we can discuss about some multimedia options in HTML. So with that, we will finish our HTML and go into CSS now. Mostly from Monday onwards, we will start learning and working with CSS. Okay. So tomorrow we will continue with the forms and dealing with the forms. Okay. Right.